Ralph, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Ralph Hofacker. I'm from Germany, living and working for the last 4 or 5 years in Zürich. So I'm working for Leonteq, which is a Swiss company listed at the exchange, specializing in offering and issuing structured products. Those products are investment products for different types of investors and different types of risk and return profiles.
So Bitcoin became legal tender in El Salvador on the 7th of September, and you were there in the summer. Can you please tell us more about your trip, and specifically tell us, how is Bitcoin supposed to work? How can I pay with Bitcoin? And how much does it cost to pay with Bitcoin?
These are really great questions, Maria. So first of all, yes, I had the pleasure and the honor to spend part of my holidays in El Salvador at the end of July. As given that it was not yet the time when the legal tender was formally in place, still going to, let's say, the core initiative that has driven some of the decisions in the country and maybe in future countries as well. The village close to the beach in El Zonte, the small little region there, where there is this among Bitcoin followers, very well-known project called Bitcoin Beach. I basically stayed there for 5-6 days to just understand how it works there. In the village of El Zonte, Bitcoin Beach, they have the headquarters where I could speak to many of the participants in the program who explained to me how over the 2 years they have established a whole program that involves general education, that involves financial education, Bitcoin specifically, maths, computer science, all financed by a large Bitcoin donation from an anonymous outsider who doesn't want to reveal his identity.
Wow, so someone sponsored something like this in El Salvador. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I mean, just by the conversations I had, I could really understand how immense this impact has been on the community there. So you can imagine like 500-600 families, 3,000 people overall, and walking around there, I mean, they have over the last 2 years adopted a micro ecosystem in which almost everywhere, almost not everywhere, you can actually use your Bitcoin wallet and make payments, right? Of course, as most of the people who are in Bitcoin know, if you make payments directly with your Bitcoin wallet, it takes minutes until the actual transaction is settled on the blockchain, and it's quite expensive in a certain way, right? So Bitcoin itself is nice for storing value, but for making day-to-day microtransactions to pay for a coffee is maybe not so possible on the main Bitcoin blockchain. But what the guys there have started straight from the beginning was, once they have managed to get the funding for developing their own wallet, they have started directly to develop a Lightning Network wallet. So this is the key point where I believe that this experiment in the small village is actually something that can be adopted throughout the country. Why? Because on the Lightning Network, I mean, transactions are, let's say, instant in the same way as a touchless transaction with your credit card is in over the counter in the grocery store, right? And it's, I mean, depending on whether it's a custodial or non-custodial setup, it's either 0 fees or it's a very, very low fees in the hundreds or thousands of cents, let's say. And this is what I could just test out there. So I'm someone who is always curious, and I never take anything that is being told to me for granted. So I want to check whether it's really true. So
but isn't that, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I think this is very interesting, because most of the people say, like Bitcoin being legal tender, you cannot use Bitcoin for payments because it's so expensive, the transactions take so much time. But people should understand that there's a Lightning Network where the fees are so low and it's an instant payment. And this is such a revolution for using Bitcoin as a payment method.
And it's, I mean, it's understandable that it's not yet well known because it's really, really new, right? So Lightning Network only exists for, I mean, in a production environment for, let's say, 3 years or so, a bit more maybe, but it's not something that is yet very clear to everyone like common traditional methods of payments are, right? So the reason is that it's not known yet, but I think it's revolutionary. It's just revolutionary. I was able to make 6-7 payments throughout the first day. I used the custodial wallet that Bitcoin Beach themselves have developed just to test it out. There are technological glitches. Not everything works perfectly, but given the limited budget that they have and the effort that was has gone into it, I mean, it's remarkable, I would say. And
Yeah.
it gives the people the ability to understand how money works. I think this is the major part, because it's a cash-based society. There, mostly 70% of the people do not have access to banking. They do not have a debit or credit card. They don't have e-banking. They don't have an Amazon where they can just put in their banking details so that it's being bought. So the whole e-commerce part is not there. So for them to make this jump from cash to Lightning is incredible.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like the cryptocurrency for the bankless, right?
I mean, actually, this experiment is exactly the realization of this statement, correct?
Yeah.
But I mean, I also, as I told you, I'm not taking things for granted. So I went out of the village, of course, to explore how the rest of the country, with focus, of course, of the capital, San Salvador, is seeing this topic. And there, I mean, I didn't have any expectations, but the ones that I had were kind of confirmed. People back at that time did not have a clue about Bitcoin. They did not know anything about it. They were kind of worried, cautious, what changes it will bring. And honestly, I don't think that this is something unusual. You know, whenever something so dramatically changes for you and you don't have a clue about it, it's very, very understandable that they react in this way. And everywhere I asked if they prepare themselves for accepting Bitcoin as payments with merchants, at the airport, with taxi drivers, in shops, everyone didn't have a clue yet how they are going to do this. So this is a bit the realization I had.
Yeah.
But I learned that the government of El Salvador is actually trying to make big efforts now that on the 7th of September, Bitcoin made it as legal tender, to educate the public as well as preparing the merchants for Bitcoin adoption.
And how are they doing that? Do you know?
So it's a bit, I would say, overall question worthy whether the overall strategy is clearly defined. What I could take away so far from the people I know there and from what I grasped from internet sources is that there is supposedly, alongside the ATMs that are being rolled out throughout the country, there are booths installed in which people can just come and ask about anything related to Bitcoin. Of course, it is very important to understand in which way does the government try to actually establish adoption and try to sort of incentivize the usage of Bitcoin in general. And this is a strategy that was very publicly made available and very clear to everyone. The government has his own wallet, Lightning Network wallet, called Chivo, and the president gave a terminology also known in blockchain space, maybe not so in the traditional finance space, an airdrop of $30 worth of Bitcoin to everyone who registered on this app and provided his DUI, his digital unique identifier of El Salvador, so that you know who is using the wallet as a government, which is important for KYC purposes, and maybe unfortunately also for tracking tax and so forth, but that's a separate topic.
Mm.
But in the end, you were able to get these $30 and you could immediately use it.
Which is a great incentive.
It's a great incentive. And I mean, it led, I think, to quite a large number of downloads. And what I heard was there were different types of usages then. either there were some friends or family members who gathered together to send around these $30 from one wallet to the other, and then one of the guys went to the next ATM to withdraw it into US dollars, which is absolutely fair, to be honest. And others just tried to actually use it in the desired fashion and went to the grocery store, of which now one of the major chains in El Salvador has already the ability to accept Bitcoin payments. This is remarkable in my opinion. And there, the first glitches appeared. People were not able to make the payment. The wallet, imagine, I think it has been downloaded a couple of million times already. And there were technological glitches due to scalability issues. The whole wallet setup was not necessarily prepared for such a mass adoption in the first few weeks, which, coming from the financial technology space, I fully understand that is normal, unfortunately. Of course, in the media, you hear always the bad things about it, not the positive things. I think this is normal, and I think it's remarkable that people are actually using Bitcoin as a payment method. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I understand now, there are basically two wallets I can use. The one is the Bitcoin Beach wallet, and the other one is the Chivo wallet. And both of them work when I want to pay somewhere with Bitcoin.
Now, this is the key, Maria. This is the key. Bitcoin is open, permissionless, and resilient to any sort of restrictions. So if you're using the wallet, of course, you are restricted in some way in terms of what this wallet gives you as options to use. But if this is a Lightning Network wallet, what you can just do is you can scan any Lightning Network compatible invoice to transfer your money, your Satoshi, from one wallet to another. So while you get this airdrop on the Chivo wallet in El Salvador, no one tells you to just move it to a non-custodial wallet, like Breeze, for example, by just making...
Maybe we should just quickly explain what's custodial and non-custodial wallet.
Sorry, yes, I jumped ahead. Yes, sorry, yes, you're right. So custodial means that basically it's like a bank account, right? So you are holding some money in your account, in your wallet in this example, and you're not the one who is holding the asset yourself. You give the ownership to someone else, like a bank, in this example, probably the government who runs the underlying Lightning nodes, and you have the ability to take the money, to use it for payments and so forth. But you do not have the control of the money. It's like with banking, when you make deposits, you still have the right or the ownership, but the actual cash is not with you, it's with the bank, right? So there are advantages with that, there are disadvantages.
And this is the Chivo wallet, right? It's custodial. Yes. Both of them are custodial.
What does this method allow you as an end retail customer? You don't have to worry about security in the beginning, right? You only need, let's say, your password that you maybe even can recover. You do not lose your money, your coins, if you forget your password, let's say. The non-custodial equivalent is where you have full control about everything. You're actually, and this is something that is maybe not so well understood among people. When you own your wallet, the seed phrase that you use to instantiate your wallet, you own the money completely yourself and you're responsible for it. So if you lose this, then you have lost your money. On the other side, no one can control the money that you have except for the ones who have this ability to set up this wallet with your key, right? And this is therefore something you could do in El Salvador. With anyone could do this. I can't see how a large majority of people are going to do this because they are not yet having this understanding to understand what it actually means. So for them, it's already a huge step forward. And I'm really happy about this. Yes.
All right. I understand. So you mean that by keeping the money on the custodial wallet, on the Bitcoin Beach wallet or Chivo wallet, there is a danger then the money can disappear because the government can say, oh, we need the money now because, I don't know, the price of Bitcoin went down. So now we need, I don't know, to use the coins on these wallets. This is what you mean.
That is the risk, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Even I would be surprised if Bukele would do that, but yes. Yeah.
Okay, and you said that they're basically this ATMs that you can withdraw money. And I find it very interesting. You made a great YouTube video about that, how you're using an ATM like this. And I think it's spectacular that the people are offered the chance to withdraw their Bitcoin in US dollars. The disadvantage is, of course, the huge taxes, the huge fees they
Yes,
pay, that they
yes,
pay for it. I don't remember exactly how many were there, but I remember there was a fee for withdrawing, there was a fee for the transaction, and there was a fee also for switching from one currency to the other.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So this is the current setup that I experienced in El Salvador, because the ATM itself was a Bitcoin ATM, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, you have to make a transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, which involves the fees for making the transaction, and then the provider of the ATM charges you for the exchange from Bitcoin to US dollars and for the withdrawal of the US dollars. This
Mm.
takes time because you need to wait until the transaction is being made on the blockchain, and it takes money. So it's in a bit very similar to a remittance use case where people from the US send dollars to MoneyGram or something like this, where you have to
Yeah.
spend time to get it, and there are large fees involved. So in this regard, this is not really, I would say, something that is so beneficial yet. Of course, if you have the Bitcoin and you want to get it, you can in this way, but it's expensive. On the
Yeah.
other side, with the Chivo ATMs, so together with the Chivo wallet, these new Chivo ATMs, I haven't yet researched it, but I think that sooner or later they will also move to Lightning setups, meaning that the withdrawals will then be possible in the same way as you are familiar with regular cash ATMs, where you get direct execution and zero or to non-existing fees involved in withdrawing your cash.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're using a Bitcoin ATM, you still have to go through the Bitcoin blockchain,
Exactly.
which causes these high fees. And this is the case where Bitcoin is not so suitable as a
And
payment method. Yeah.
exactly. And this is, I think, very nicely seen, observed in the real world. You know that Satoshi, I mean, he had, I think, when he or when the group, we don't know who it was, developed this conceptually, they, I think, were already aware that these issues will exist and that it will maybe not only serve as a cash equivalent for daily transactions, so a medium of exchange, but the store of value part. And for me
Mm,
personally, I now see Bitcoin on the main blockchain as the store of value piece, and the Lightning Network as the one where I can say I use a small portion of my Bitcoin to interact on a daily basis for, let's say, small to medium expenses, where I
mm.
don't mind if Bitcoin loses or gains the typical 20-30% over a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a perfect summary of the both. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maria. It was a pleasure to be part of your program. I hope that your listeners can take away something as well. If there are any sort of questions on certain topics that we've talked about, I'm also happy to receive messages or questions on my LinkedIn or on my Twitter.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ralph.
Cheers.